All right, welcome to the Possibility Show. Oh, on today's segment, we're in for a treat. If you're in business, if you're in direct sales, if you're in network marketing, or if you've been wanting to learn about social media, well, today's the perfect show because the person I'm about to bring on has built an organization of thousands. And the wonderful part is the other person that we have on has built an organization of 300,000 business partners with millions and millions of customers. And today we have them together where we're going to just talk about the industry. We're going to talk about how they scaled their business and how they've been able to be successful in decades. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Jeff Weber, or I like to call him Senior Vice President, Mr. Jeff Weber. And to my right here, I have Mr. Jay Gauthier. You might have seen him as the drummer of Red Hot Chili Peppers. But all seriousness, son of a pastor. He's a servant leader. He actually plays at church on Sundays. You wouldn't know that about him when you see him as a rock star over here. But it's time to dive in and talk about what has been possible that once upon a time wasn't possible. So welcome to the show. And by the way, I had the privilege to interview him a few years ago when he was just launching his social media company.
Yeah, we had just started a PR firm.
Yeah, now he has like 3,000 members paying thousands of dollars just to be in relationship with him. And I follow him too, so I get a lot of good sites. So you're in for a treat. It's not going to cost you thousands. It's going to be free. So Mr. Jay Gauthier, welcome on board.
Oh, thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, so tell us about how you got started in the direct sales business, kind of how you got your start and how your business grew from there, because I'm sure it didn't start blowing up from day one, maybe.
No. So I was 21 years old. Growing up in school, I didn't, it's interesting because today I love to learn, I love to read, I love to study, just like I know you guys do too. When I was in school, I was there to play sports. I was a athlete student, not a student athlete. And so I didn't really value learning as much. So although I wanted to go and become an attorney, I didn't want to go to law school.
Oh, would you have had that hair if you were an attorney?
No, definitely not. And so I went to UCLA. I went to medic school. I became a fireman. I started doing that. I got married young. I met my wife when I was 17.
Wow.
We got married. I was 21 years old.
You're still together?
Still together, yeah. This year will be 15 years married.
Congratulations.
That's awesome.
No, thank you, man. 15 years married.
That's a podcast in itself.
Yeah, 18 years since we started dating. I've been with her now more of my life than I have without her.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
And by the way, his wife is a superstar. They're partners in the business.
Awesome.
And
Wow.
There's a saying, for every powerful man, there's a much more powerful woman.
Amen to that. She's the president of operations for a whole entire firm. So, yeah, I went in the fire department. She went to school and became a psychologist, got her master's in psychology. And she was working as a school psych. I was in the fire department. And then my dad called me and invited me to come to an office. My parents were always broke. So my dad's a pastor. He's been a pastor in El Monte since 1991. My mom's been a teacher at Rosemead High School my entire life.
Wow.
So mom made most of the income. Dad was on a $2,000 salary at church. And he calls me and he says, I want you to come to this office. And I said, okay, for what? And to fast forward the story, I didn't come. He calls me again, I didn't come.
Yeah.
He calls me again, I finally showed up. And I showed up, he ended up there because a girl who was in his youth group invited him to go to a recruiting meeting in the financial industry. And my dad at that time had tried like almost everything. I mean, he had done it all. The only thing he had never done was insurance or finance. He was never part of Primerica or like anything else. So my dad shows up. He says, I'm not buying anything. I'm not joining anything, but I will come to help you.
Yeah.
He ends up realizing I have no life insurance. He buys like 6 policies and then he gets recruited. And the guy who recruits him, my parents are so broke at the time, like $75,000 in credit card debt. They already filed bankruptcy once.
Wow.
And I found out later on, my dad was so frustrated, like so down, so almost depressed, and like literally just hanging on by his faith. That was it. And I didn't know any of this at the time because I was a kid, but my dad tells me this later. And when he starts that day, the guy who recruited him says, if you're going to do this and you're actually going to do it and you could have one person do it with you, who would it be? And he goes, well, it would probably be my son. My son's like my best friend, but he just got in the fire department. I really don't think he's going to want to do anything else. Mm-hmm. And the guy goes, well, call your son. And my dad goes, okay, I'll call him. And the guy looks at my dad, he goes, pick up the phone and call him.
Yeah.
Like, right now, call him. And my dad's like, really? So my dad calls me. I don't come to the meeting. 3 days later, he calls me again. 3 days later, he calls me again. Uh-huh. And I finally show up. And I had no money to get my license. And what my dad didn't know was that the fire department had just laid me off.
Oh. Because
700 guys had got laid off, just like recently, despite how much fires are in California, the budget's never good.
Yeah.
And so I was in between jobs, and I was completely frustrated. I had only been married 9 months, and we were already struggling financially because I lost my job. Uh-huh. And I looked at the guy, and I said, if I have to pay anything to do this, I'm telling you right now, I can't do it. I don't have any money. My wife's not going to give me the blessing to do this. We're already struggling. Mm-hmm. And he opens up the drawer. This is the next day after I went to the meeting. And he pulls out $400 in cash, and he lays it on the table, on the desk. Mm-hmm. And I look at it, and he goes, your dad told me that's exactly what you would say. And he said he wants you to do this, and if you're going to do it, here's some money for your license. If not, I'm supposed to just give it to you as a gift. And I paused because I knew two things. Number one, I knew my dad did not have an extra $400 to throw around.
Yeah.
And number two, if he was willing to pay for it, then what the heck, I was going to try. Yeah. And that day, that was April of 2011. That was the start of my whole career. And then now my parents are retired, as a result of it.